And right now we head to Coffee Court this particular evening. And Coffee Court takes us back to conversations dealing with foreign investment in Uganda's power sector, which has expanded as the government prioritizes expanding electricity generation. Now, according to the Electricity Regulatory Authority, as of December 2021, Uganda has installed capacity of 1,346 megawatts and the demand of 800 megawatts, leaving a surplus of 546 megawatts. And in the coffee court, we have an insight in the Electricity Regulatory Authority performance for the year 2022.
Very good evening to you tuned into Smart 24 TV. You're welcome to yet another episode of Coffee Court. And my name is Rona Nahabwe. With me is the Director of Corporate and Consumer Affairs at Electricity Regulatory Authority. Electricity Regulatory Authority is a statutory body of government that is meant to regulate, license, and issue licenses for the generation, transmission, and distribution of electricity, as well as make sales of electricity in the country. So, Mr. Wandera, you're welcome to Coffee Court. Say hello to the viewers.
Hello, my name is Julius Wandera. Like Rona has introduced me, I'm happy to be here.
Okay, so first things first, how has 2022 been like for the Electricity Regulatory Authority?
Maybe for the electricity sector as a whole, 2022 has been a year of great strides. When we started the year, one of the quick highlights is that we're pursuing the amendment of the Electricity Act. And God gracious, that was done. On 16th of May, this year, His Excellency appended his signature to the new electricity law. That's a huge milestone for us, not just as ERA alone, but as a whole sector. It has got very many provisions. It has opened up the transmission sector. That amendment has created punitive punishments for electricity vendors. That amendment has created revenue sufficiency to a certain extent for ERA. That amendment has created opportunity for high industrial consumers to be given electricity directly from generation plants. So the Electricity Act itself has been a highlight for us, a huge milestone, which has come with a host of benefits.
Including, when you speak about this Amendment Act, I mean, I know it introduces the single monopoly, removing the single monopoly of the generation, so of the sale of electricity. So I'm asking in regards to UGCL, UDCL, and UTCL, all these companies that are regulated by Electricity Regulatory Authority. How is that going to play out?
Now, what the amendment has created is that it has opened up the transmission segment. It has changed the market structure. It has changed the electricity market structure. Initially, the electricity market structure had many players in generation, a single buyer, a single person in transmission, and many players in distribution. What the new market structure means is that this middle segment, which is called transmission, has been opened up. How? We're going to have now generation companies that can have a connection that sells directly to big consumers. I can give an example. For example, if there's a factory in either Buyikwe, Rugazi, wherever that needs power from Bujagali, the electricity, part of the provisions of the amendment is that now Bujagali can directly enter into a contract with that factory that needs their power, and it's directly supplied to them. Of course, wheeled on the current network, and they'll pay something called wheeling charges. Wheeling charges is passing the electricity on my line. Okay, that's what it means. So that is an achievement, and the president talked about it very many times to eliminate unnecessary bureaucracies in the middle there. However, that does not affect the existing companies because the consumers are very many. There are those industries that will choose to have direct sales from factories. There are those who will not. Like, for example, your home, for you will not need a direct connection from the generation plant to your house. Otherwise, the price will be too high for you because of what's called wheeling charges. So the companies still remain doing their work. Electricity generation will keep doing their work, transmission will keep doing their work, distribution will keep doing their work. But what I know that you could be alluding to is the government rationalization project, where they have merged some companies. Yes, some companies have been merged across the country, not just the sector, the electricity sector alone, but including even health and so on. But what happens here is that government is creating one company called the Uganda Electricity Company. This company is going to have all UEB successor companies. The UEB successor companies were three: UEGCL, UEBCL, UETCL. They are all going to be departments in one company called the Uganda Electricity Company. Some people think it's a recreation of UEB of sorts, but we cannot say so until we've seen how it operates. Because these companies will hold the licenses they've been holding, as given out by the regulator. The off-taker, in those companies, there's something called the off-taker within the transmission, okay? This is the function that buys electricity from all generation plants, puts it in one pool, and gives to these different distribution companies. That function is going to remain independent, at least from the discussions that we are privy to. So these companies are going to come together into one company, Uganda Electricity Company, but they will remain doing their work. Maybe, and I say maybe, the government could opt to create them as departments headed by managers, manager transmission, manager distribution, manager transmission. Then the overall person in charge of that company becomes the director general. That's what happens in Tanzania actually. The head of such a company in Tanzania is called a DG, director general. And I think even in Rwanda or something like that. So I anticipate that that's where the market structure is going.
Okay. So of course I would assume that that would of course mean laying off of certain stuff, but let me leave that at that. Still like the amendment bill, I know that we are given full powers to track down vandals, and we recently heard that you require 37 billion shillings to repair a stretch from Iganga that was vandalized, and this is just one stretch. So we expect that there is more to it. What are you doing in that area to track down vandalism?
But even before we get to tracking down vandalism, let me complete your first question of what are the highlights, what are the highs of this year. The amendment was just one of them. The other is what we launched yesterday, what the minister launched yesterday, the electricity credit scheme for consumers. People who have been saying, I cannot afford 720, connection cost is very high. Yesterday the minister gave him a Christmas gift. The no-pole connection. Pay 200,000 and you get connected, so that you don't go for Christmas in darkness, okay? Then the other highlight is the index. Again, 2 days ago, the African Development Bank published their survey and established that ERA is the best regulator on the African continent. Hello?
Congratulations.
5 times in a row. That's a big deal for Uganda. Okay? So those are some of the highs that we have registered this year. But now to go back to your question, what are we doing to track vandalism? You see, as ERA, we can only work with government agencies that are responsible for keep maintaining law and order and maybe add-on security. Ours is to work with them, give them information, and they do their job. Their job is to investigate, track down, arrest, and prosecute. That's what we're doing. We're working with the police already. We created a partnership with the police. First of all, to sensitize the police themselves on this vice and the cost it has to the economy. Then 2, to also sensitize people. We are working now with the district security teams on 19th of this month, which is next week on Monday or Friday this week, one of the two. I think next week on Monday, we will be launching a we'll be commencing a sensitization that we launched here in the presence of the director CID. We'll be commencing with the Kampala metropolitan area. We're going to be in Hotel Triangle on Buganda Road to engage what you call the Kampala Metropolitan District Security Team. Has the RDCs, the police, and the military, and so on, to start the engagement, to discuss these vices. Then from there, we shall go up country. So if you're asking the question, what are we doing? We are engaging with the people, the relevant authorities, okay, to be able to do this. Beyond that, we have gotten the law amended so that the consequences for vandalism are punitive. The consequences of vandalism are really bad. They cost us a lot. Imagine you were in hospital, you are under an operation, and then the tower falls and power goes off. What happens? It's very bad. Other than that, it means that government's budget, instead of being a progressive budget, it becomes a regressive budget. Instead of investing in transforming the lives of people, government has to keep spending money in Kuba Viraka of the line that has been vandalized. It's very bad. You talked about the 30 billion for the Uganda line. That is just one. If we give you the cost, it's in hundreds of billions of money. That has to be put there, which did not require to be put there. Why? Because some people have decided to become selfish. In some of these things, what have we done? We have copied a leaf from our friends in Kenya. You see, Kenya established the scrap bill in 2015. This problem was not only here, it was even in Kenya. Kenya introduced the scrap bill to regulate the trading of scrap and criminalize it. We got the same electricity law, scrap law, and shared it with the Minister of Trade. So the Minister of Trade is supposed to write that law, go to Parliament and get it passed. What has happened thereafter, I am not very privy to it.
Okay. Maybe away from that, let's look at the issue of pricing. How do you arrive to pricing of electricity? What determines the tariff?
Good question. The price of electricity is determined like the price of any product on the market. Maybe we should start by asking, how do you determine the price of adverts on smart television? That is it. That's the same way we arrive at the price of electricity. The price of electricity is the sector revenue requirement. Sector revenue requirement means that what money is needed to keep these lights on. That money needed to keep lights on involves paying for investments that have been put there by private entities like Umema and Eskom. It means the price of energy. They have generated their energy and sold it to you, so you have to buy it. It means the cost of operation and maintenance to keep those things running. That is it. And then that is adjusted for microeconomic factor adjustments like exchange rates, inflation, and so on. Those things put together, okay, they determine the sector revenue requirement. Now that sector revenue requirement, we say, okay, how much is it? We need 10 billion, for example. So how do we arrive at the price of electricity if we need 10 billion? We say, how many units are going to be generated and sold this year? Then we say, okay, there's 1 million units that are going to be generated and sold. So we get the 1 million units generated and then divide them by the sector revenue requirement, and we get the price of electricity. It's just as simple as that.
So that means there are lots of stakeholders that are engaged in this.
Yes, there are lots, and that's why we call public hearings where you come. That's it.
Okay. Speaking of Mini, I would like to talk about Mini's concession. We know that its partnership with the Ugandan government will end in 2025. In your opinion, as Director of Corporate Affairs here at ERA, do you think the concession was fair?
Concession, or it is ending? Which you are to know whether it's fair or not?
Their partnership regards to
their partnership with Uganda.
Yes. Do you think it ending, the Umema's concession ending? Do you think it has had a fair right?
Umeme has had a significant impact on Uganda. That one I have to say, significant impact on Uganda. Umeme got Uganda when we were like a patient on a drip. The network was dilapidated. There was no investment in our network, not at all. No generation company was willing to come to Uganda because there was no network to sell their energy. So Umeme closed the eyes and said, we will come. So they came. And when they came and started rehabilitating the network, then all these generation companies said, oh, okay, I can now go because I know when I generate my energy, the market is there where it's going to be sold. The network is there to move it. So Umeme has done a very good job. At the cost at which that good job was done is a different story. But they have done a very good job. They have set Uganda on a high. People come here to benchmark Uganda. South Africa has been here to benchmark Uganda. Malawi, Namibia, Egypt has been here. Ghana has been here. People who are need to unbundle have been here. And when they come for benchmarking, they come to the regulator, they go to the off-taker transmission company, they go to Umeme to study. When Umeme came, people used to come to your house to read a bill. That is no more. They introduced prepaid metering. Right now, you can disconnect yourself and reconnect yourself without anyone coming to your house. Umeme has done a great job, including millers have got prepaid meters. You could call them in a layman's language prepaid meters. They're called MRF meters. So Umeme has done a significantly super job. The issue is that Umeme had a concession with the government of Uganda where they agreed that at the end of the 5 years we can part company or keep working together. They too have chosen to part company. There's no music about it. By the way, we are talking about Umeme. There is ESCOM. Umeme's concession ends in 2025, 2.5 years from now. ESCOM's concession is ending in March next year. How many months from now? 3 months. Nobody is talking about ESCOM.
Because those people know Umeme and they are the ones that connect us.
Yeah,
so,
but now I'm telling you as a reporter, ESCOM's concession is ending in March. And they are going, the South African company. When ESCOM came, only one unit at Owen Falls Dam was working. Right now, Owen Falls is firing at all blanks. ESCOM has totally rehabilitated it and revamped it. When they came in, an auditor had given that Owen Falls Dam 15 years to collapse and close. ESCOM has revamped that Owen Falls Dam, and it has now a new lease life of 50 years while pumping out energy for us.
So should we anticipate a harmonized environment even after Umeme?
That is our heart's desire. That is our desire, that the environment will be harmonized, that the transition will be seamless, and that there will be no issues at all. It will be a change of guard. One person goes out, another one comes in. That's what we want. There could be a little bit of teething issues here and there, but we think everything should be okay.
Out from that, I know you have a campaign of Fundi Sayaka, and I would like to know how that has developed over the last few months. Clean cooking and electricity. How do you determine the electricity bill of a person who would like to move into clean cooking? How is that developing?
It's very simple. First of all, we have data of all electricity consumers in this country, including your own data. We have it. If you buy electricity and you have a connection in your name, we have it. We have your meter number. So we know the consumption of everybody connected to electricity. So what we needed to do is to incentivize people to use electricity for cooking or to cook using electricity. Okay? So we came up with a strategy to give you discounted units. You see, the growth in technology has made life very easy. It's a matter of creating a model and you put it in the computer and it will be up and running. So we created an incentive and you say, we know how much you consume. The system knows how much you ended up consuming every month. Whether I buy 10,000, then I buy 5, then I buy 3, then I buy 50. The system gives aggregating. And so the system knows how much electricity I use in a month. So what we said is that for those of you who use electricity, if you can hit 80 units, okay, the moment you land on the 81st, your price drops from 745, which is now 800 right now, it drops to 412 by half the price. The system automatically takes you there. It doesn't have to be anybody there pressing this button and the other button. No, it's a calibrated system in a computer. The computer knows each one of us. Each one of us has got a ledger in the Umeme billing system. Each one of us.
Okay. As part of your mandate by the government, you're also supposed to sell electricity. And I think 2 years back I read a report that said that Uganda has surplus electricity, so we can actually sell it to Kenya and other countries. So my question would be in this aspect: if you have surplus electricity, how come that bill that we have to pay for electricity is still moderate? It has never gone down, and yet we have to export. So how do those two combine? If you are selling, that means we should be able to make profit for that bill to be subsidized.
Very bright idea. But I told you something at the start, that the price of electricity is determined by the revenue requirement. The price of advertising on Smart 24 is required by the revenue required to run the TV station. Okay? So yes, we don't have excess energy. That one is a wrong
But you
statement.
used to in the past.
No, people say so, but we don't have excess energy. You see, electricity is produced as it's consumed. Okay? It cannot be produced and you store it in a room and you say, I have 10 bags in a room waiting if I have any other buyers. It is produced as it's consumed. That means as the turbine is running, this man's light is also on consuming it. Okay? So when the demand goes down and all of you have switched off an ABCD, the turbines that keep turning are reduced to take care of what is needed only. Now, back to the export and import and so on. Part of the mandate of the transmission companies to import and export energy. Initially, we have been selling energy to Kenya, and by selling to Kenya, the money we'll get from there will help us to step down the price of electricity locally. But Kenya has revamped their own generation capacity. Their sugarcane plant factories in western Kenya have ramped up their power generation. Their geothermal plants in Olkaria have ramped up the capacity. So there is very little that they have been buying from Uganda. But other than that, last month, they signed a sales agreement with Ethiopia. And Ethiopian electricity is very cheap. So they are wheeling electricity from Ethiopia to Kenya. And so that reduces the cost at which they buy their energy. So it's an opportunity cost for them. Should I buy from Uganda or from Ethiopia? Who gives me at a lower cost? As one lady said.
Okay, maybe as your parting remarks as we conclude this conversation, I would like to know what we should expect from ERA next year.
Next year?
Yes.
Expect a more stable electricity supply industry. Let's work together to fight vandals. Our problem is vandals. That's the problem. There is nothing else. Macroeconomic factors are managed by the central bank. Central bank does everything they can to make sure that exchange rate doesn't expose us, inflation does not expose us, because they have huge factors on the price of electricity. And let's support the police and the security community in fighting vandalism. And that's number 2. Next year, expect a new base tariff. We're going to announce a new base tariff in January or December. Here we'll announce a new base tariff. The base tariff is the price at which is the price of electricity for a year. That particular price is what is adjusted upwards or downward depending on the behavior of macroeconomic factors, exchange rate, inflation, and so on.
Thank you, Mr. Wandera. It's such a pleasure. That now leads us to the end of Coffee Court. I hope the conversation was insightful as it is for me. So my name is Rona Nahabwe. Good evening.
With only 9 minutes to the top of the hour, it is the 27th of December, 2022. I'm Jerome Paul Sanko with Winnie Beans and Akauchi in Sign Language. We've been coming to you live from the heart of Kampala, plot 42 Nile Avenue, and we do wish you a blessed night till tomorrow. Good evening.